Hi guys, I hope you all are fine and of course you are staying at your home. Now we are going to start with classification of plant. If you remember, last period only we started and we also discussed that all the living organisms are classified into 5 groups which were being classified by scientist R.H. Whittaker. So out of those 5 kingdoms, 3 kingdoms we have studied in standard 8th. The 3 kingdoms were Monera, Protista and fungi. This year we are going to study about kingdom Plantae, and next year, that is in standard 10th, we will study entire kingdom Animalia. Now in kingdom Plantae, entire kingdom Plantae is again subdivided into 2 subkingdoms, that is subkingdom Cryptogam and subkingdom Phenerogam. In subkingdom Cryptogam, the plants are without flowers, and in Phenerogams the plants bear the flowers. Subkingdom Cryptogam is again divided into 3 groups or 3 divisions as division Bryophyta, Thallophyta and Pteridophyta, out of which Thallophyta and Bryophyta we have already studied. We discussed all its characters and its examples. Now we are going to start with division Pteridophyta. In case of division Pteridophyta, these are slightly evolved than Thallophyta and Bryophyta. If you look the evolution, we understand that from simple to complex. Thallophyta, the simplest kind of plant, slightly evolved we have Bryophyta, again evolved we have Pteridophyta. All the 3 belong to subkingdom Cryptogam or non-flowering plants. Now since I say that these are evolved, we will discuss how evolved or in which aspect are Pteridophytes evolved than Thallophyte and Bryophyte. Now division Pteridophyta, these plants are well adapted for living on land. They show roots developed, leaves are also developed, however they do not have flowers. The reproduction in them occurs by help of spores. Mostly the spores are developed behind the leaf like in fern, or maybe they develop an organ in which the spores can grow. I will show you the pictures later on where you can see on the back side of the fern the spores are present in the specialized part called as sporangium. Pteridophyta, again as I said, they are much better developed than Thallophyta and Bryophyta. They can properly live on land, have root, have leaves as well as they show the presence of conducting tissues, that is xylem and phloem. For the first time in plant kingdom, xylem and phloem appeared in division Pteridophyta. So what are xylem and phloem? These are basically conducting tissues. Like in our house, we have different type of pipelines. So what is the function of pipelines? They carry water or they can also drain away the used water. Same way here, the plants develop for the first time in plant kingdom. In Pteridophyta, they develop the vascular system, that is xylem and phloem. They are simple kind of xylem and phloem, but they function in a proper way. Now xylem and phloem, what are they? So basically xylem is a kind of conductive tissue which carries water from roots to the upper parts of the plant. On the other hand, phloem are kind of conducting tissues which carry the food which is synthesized by the leaf in the upper as well as lower parts of the plant body for storage or for use also. So xylem carries water and minerals from the soil, and phloem, it carries the prepared food in the leaf by photosynthesis into all the parts of the plant. So that was about Pteridophyta. The most common example of Pteridophyta is fern. So this was all about all the 3 divisions of subkingdom Cryptogam. Now we are going to start with phenerogams. Now what do you understand by phenerogam? Phenerogams are flowering plants. So they show development of flower as their reproductive organ. Now again, these phenerogams also show development of seed. Inside the seed, the embryo is present which absorbs the nutrient from the embryo and then it starts growing. For example, if you soak seeds, for example, if you soak green gram or matki or chavli, So you can see after some days it starts sprouting, that is embryo start growing, and as it is growing it absorbs the nutrient from the seed. So this is the characteristics of subkingdom phenerogam. In phenerogam, again it is categorized into two groups as angiosperms and gymnosperms. Now gymnosperms we are going to start first. In case of gymnosperms, gymnos means open, naked, and sperma means seed. So this indicates or this means that the seeds are without any kind of enclosure, or seeds are not located inside the fruit. So they lack fruit. They only show development of seed without any enclosure or without covering. So that is gymnosperm. Examples of gymnosperm, common example are cycas or thuja or Christmas tree. So cycas, most of the time you might have seen the single leaf which we use for decoration or for purpose of preparing bouquet. The leaf which is kept at the back, that is actually the leaf of cycas. I will also post the pictures of different gymnosperms, angiosperms as well as pteridophytes, so you can refer to the pictures as well. Now gymnosperms, its meaning is the plants which have their seeds open or naked seeds, or seeds which are not enclosed within the fruit. Then in case of gymnosperm, the reproduction may occur by help of male and female spores, and then they also have male and female plants separate. Male plant is different from female plant. Again the example is cycas or thuja palm or Christmas tree. Next is division angiospermy. Angiosperms are said to be the most evolved plants in all the kingdom Plantae. Angiosperms are found everywhere on the earth. They have high degree of adaptation. They can be as small as few centimeters to as long as few meters. Examples are eucalyptus tree, banyan tree, mango tree, and small plants also, different types of herbs like tulsi, that is ocimum. These are all examples of angiosperms. They are present in large amounts on the earth, as well as they are highly adapted to live on in different habitats. Various crop plants also belong to angiosperms. Now angiosperms are further been categorized into two groups as monocot and dicot, or they are called as class monocotyledon and class dicotyledon. So monocotyledon, mono means single, di means two. So monocotyledon means the plants which have seeds with only one cotyledon. Example: rice, maize, wheat, jowar, bajra, ragi. These all plants have only one cotyledon, meaning you cannot split up rice into two equal halves, or wheat or maize into two equal halves. While if you compare with pea, cashew nuts, green gram, these all plants, the seed can be split open into two equal halves. That is, they have dicotyledon or two cotyledons. Monocotyledons on the other hand, mostly all are cereals: rice, wheat, jowar, bajra, ragi, natsni. These are all monocotyledonous plants. Dicotyledonous plants, that means the seeds which can be split up into two equal cotyledons. There are many examples: chana, that is green gram, matki, udad, basically all pulses, and many fruit plants are also belonging to dicotyledon. In detail, we are going to study the difference between monocotyledon and dicotyledon. So guys, we are going to discuss about difference between monocot and dicot. So here I have kept in front of you two examples of each, that is monocot and a dicot. So how do we classify, or how do we identify whether the given plant is monocot or dicot? So there are various criteria. We are going to start with root, stem, leaves, and then flowers as well. So here I have kept two plants, one of which is monocot and the other is dicot. So we'll first compare the roots of monocot and dicot. If you see the roots of monocot, they are thread-like fibrous here. So these roots are called as fibrous roots or adventitious roots. On the other hand, in case of dicot, you will see that there is one single large primary root to which secondary roots have developed. This is not the case with monocot. Monocot, you can see that every root is developed as a single thread. There is no development as primary and secondary root. Over here, on the other hand, you will see that this is one single primary root to which many sub branches have arisen. So this kind of root which is present in dicot is called as taproot system. In case of monocot, it is called as adventitious root system. So this is the basic difference between roots of monocot and root of dicot. Then after root, we are going to study about the stem. In case of stem of monocot, the stem is very weak. Apart from this example, this is a simple grass. Apart from grass, you can take example of bamboo. The stem is very weak and hollow. On the other hand, dicotyledonous plant have solid stem and it is very strong. Then moving on next to the leaf. Now, leaf of dicotyledon has reticulate veneation. If you see the veins of dicotyledonous plant, there is minute network of the leaves. I'll just try to hold it in the light so you can see. So if I hold it in front of camera in light, you can see minute white colored network. So this network, presence of network of veins is the characteristics of dicotyledonous plants. Plant shows parallel veneation. That means the veins are running parallel to each other. You can compare with the leaves of sugarcane or any kind of grass. So all these have a parallel veneation, the veins which run parallel to one another. In dicot, we have reticulate or network of veins. So we have finished with difference between monocot and dicot till leaf. Last part that was remaining was a flower. Unfortunately, I do not have monocotyledonous flower with me right now. However, example of monocotyledonous flowers are flowers of lily, and dicotyledonous flower you can take example of hibiscus. Now what basic difference do you find between these two flowers? If you observe carefully, lily has got the petals of the leaf in the multiples of 3. That is, it can have 3, 6, 9, 12, 15 and so on petals. In case of dicotyledonous, the flowers may have petals in the multiples of 4 or in the multiples of 5. Hibiscus, we have 5 petals. Some other dicotyledonous may have 4 petals or petals in the multiples of 4, like 4 petals or 8 petals or 12 petals or 16 petals. Same way, they might also have 5, 10, 15, 20 petals as well. So this is how we can categorize between flowers of monocot and flowers of dicot. So basically, flowers of monocot are called as trimerous. That is in the petals in the multiples of 3. And in case of dicot, the flowers are said to be tetramerous or pentamerous. That means they might have petals in the multiples of 4 or in the multiples of 5. So this was all about entire classification of plant. I hope you have understood it. As well as for further reference, you can also Google out. There are various websites where you can find the classification of plants in more detail. Thank you.